Hello, I'm Tanya Penner, and this is my EDL 854 case study, the Missing Booster Club Funds. A little bit of an overview. There is a parent volunteer that requests PTA funds to send her daughter to a non-school related cheerleading function. The principal denies the funding. Then later on, there's an apparent ticket proceed discrepancy which involves this parent, that causes the principal to suspect misappropriations of funds. The problem, what we know. The school is a small school with low SES. Most of the parents work at the textile mill. There is a lot of community and parent involvement. The parents volunteer to work at the concession stands and taking tickets at the games. On this particular day, it was a sold-out game, so those concession people and ticket handlers were very busy. There's no assistant principal, and so the principal was really busy with more supervisory duties, so he wasn't able to really oversee the financial portion. Mrs. Bowman, the parent, is the one that handled the tickets and the money. We know that Mr. Stevens, a parent, used a $50 bill for entry, and he had mentioned to the principal that it was payday, and so he had used the $50 bill to buy his ticket in. We know the concession money and inventory matched, and that Mrs. Bowen reported there were 10 tickets damaged. Those tickets are not accounted for, making it appear that there's $50 missing. What we need to know, what is the procedure for damaged tickets? Was the procedure followed? Is the change fund amount correct? Was the change fund amount correct to begin with? Are there large bills in the concession money? My problem statement is the lack of appropriate procedures and or those procedures not being followed, in addition to some unusual circumstances, have caused the principal to jump to conclusions without proper investigation. The action plan. Step number 1 would be to investigate. If the damaged tickets are accounted for, there's no immediate problem. So where are the rest of the tickets kept? Are the damaged tickets with them? Are they in the garbage? We have no idea at this point. Step number 2 would be to report. If the tickets cannot be accounted for, it must be reported and district guidelines followed. Step number 3, changes. First of all, changes to the current procedures or an establishment of those procedures need to be made to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Resolution. I believe that putting proper procedures in place and following them no matter what will ensure school funds will be there to make purchases which benefit the students. The debrief, what was I thinking and feeling? I kind of think that the principal is feeling a bit overwhelmed and just reaching out. He needs to employ some or ask for some staff assistance, and those policies and procedures really need to be followed. What I'm valuing what I have at my school currently. There's a staff willingness to step in and help out with anything. There are some very while we don't collect tickets or anything like that, our money handling procedures are very detailed and involved. So even though the ticket handling and things like that are not applicable at my school, the procedures that we have in place, if we were to take tickets and things like that, this wouldn't be an issue. What's unresolved? What questions do I still have? Is money really missing? At this point, we really don't know. There's too many variables. Where are those tickets? If those tickets are accounted for, I know that the principal is concerned because Mr. Stevens had mentioned that he had paid with a $50 bill. However, I have worked concessions before, and I have as a parent, and I have worked the taking the tickets also. And when you get busy like that, there's a lot of times that you, especially with finding out that the textile mill, that was payday, there could have been many parents coming in with large bills. So the fact that that bill, that $50 bill, was not in the ticket proceeds fund doesn't mean that it wasn't there at all. It could be that it was in, they could have taken it to the concession stand to get more change. Typically when people come to the game, they get their ticket first, then they go to concessions. So all of the change that the ticket collectors go through and hand out, they recoup a little bit in the concession stand. But if money is truly missing, has this happened before? And my other big question is, why aren't staff members helping out? Category number 5, Standard 8, talks about an educational leader and that they promote the academic success and well-being of every student by ensuring that effective and efficient management of the school or district to promote student social and academic learning. I think what needs to happen is we need to implement a set of policies and guidelines for handling of the money, tickets, and inventory. The principal needs to continue to utilize parent volunteers while guiding them through policies and procedures. And then implement school policies and guidelines that follow district protocol. You need to meet with stakeholders regularly to review the books and discuss any issues or concerns. Category 5, Component 1, the building administrator ensures effective and efficient management of the school or district. The principal does have a lot of parent involvement. They frequently volunteer, not only for the tickets and the concessions, but a program called Reading Buddies. They have fundraisers collecting the gate proceeds and selling concessions. He does have a fair number of accounting procedures in place using pre-numbered tickets. The money was secured immediately after he received it. There was an inventory of the concessions, and he counted the money with the security guard and has the security guard go with him to the bank to make the deposit. He does have a whole school vision and wants funding to benefit the whole school or the majority of the students, not just individuals. A note that I have here when I was reading our text, it does say that PTA funds are a separate entity and the principal's role is advisory. So it really wasn't necessarily his call as to whether or not those PTA funds would be available for Mrs. Bowman's daughter. He may have overstepped his bounds a little bit in that area. Component number 2, the building administrator promotes the social learning of every student. Absolutely. He recognizes students for their accomplishments, even accomplishments outside of the school at assemblies. Again, he encourages community involvement, works closely with parent groups, and he is dedicated. He attends the school events, and he does what it takes to ensure student success. Now, one concern I have with that is I believe he's trying to do too much, and which is also one of my faults. Wanting things to work so well, and wanting the students to benefit from everything, you tend to take on too much, and too many different roles to ensure that student success, instead of putting systems in place and policies and procedures, and then trusting other people to do and take over some of those roles, which I think is where some of the staff members should come in. Component number 3, the building administrator promotes the academic learning of every student. The PTA and the Booster Club raise money to benefit student achievement. The principal supports that and helps out with that. He's developed programs such as the Reading Buddies program to support student achievement, and has parent and community volunteers involved in that. I think there may be something that he did very well was, or something that needs to be done, is handling this investigation internally, and that way it doesn't affect the students and their learning. But then also implementing those policies and procedures so that this doesn't happen again. My references. I think that as principals, we do try and do, and building leaders, we do try and do so much for the students that sometimes we take on too much. And if we do have those policies and procedures, and we can work cohesively, we can create an awesome team that will promote our students' social, emotional, and academic welfare. Thank you for listening.